All right, welcome everyone. Today's date is Friday, November 21st, 2025. The time is now 9:32 a.m. My name is Amy Croto. I'm the hearing officer assigned to this dog hearing today, which is taking place the second floor of Town Hall, 367 Main Street, Hyannis, in the Selectmen's Conference Room. So first I'll read into the record the notice of hearing dated November 7th, 2025 to a Ms. Donna Phoenix, 265 Communication Way, Unit 124, Hyannis, Mass. 02601. Dear Ms. Phoenix, I've rescheduled a hearing under the provisions of Chapter 140, Section 157 of the Massachusetts General Laws on Friday, November 21st, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. Based on a complaint received regarding a dog harbored by you, the complaint states that the dog is dangerous, which is in violation of the Town of Barnstable dog regulations, specifically 403-17. The hearing will take place at Town Hall, 367 Main Street, Hyannis, Mass. In the Selectmen's Conference Room on the second floor. You'll be given every opportunity to be heard at this time. I request that you make every effort to attend this hearing. Sincerely, Mark S.L.'s. This was delivered in hand to Donna Phoenix by Animal Control Officer Lewis on the 14th of November at 8:30 a.m. I also have here the complaint that was filed with the town manager's office by an Ann A. Tremer of 265 Communication Way, Unit 432, Hyannis, Mass. 02601. After first being duly sworn, makes her affidavit and states that the dog owned by Donna Phoenix, residing or being kept at 265 Communication Way, Unit 124, is a nuisance by reason of excessive barking, growling. Said dog attacks. On Sunday, October 2025, I was in full control leading my ESA, emotional support animal and service dog in training, leashed down the main stairway of our apartment building. I was halfway down the stairs when another resident's dog, which I had no knowledge of being downstairs, attacked both me and my dog, knocking me against the wall and viciously attacking my dog. Someone was able to quickly grab the attacking dog's leash and pull him away from us. I quickly got up, checked my dog if he was bleeding, thankfully not, and ran to safety. Anyone?
Well, the only one that was bleeding was me. I fell down the stairs.
I'm just gonna ask that nobody talk out of turn, okay? We need to have some sense of decorum in these hearings. So any individual providing testimony today, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you're about to give in this matter is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
So as the complainant, we will hear first from Ann Tremer.
Yes, I haven't been long here. I came to help my parents from Hawaii. They passed away. I have at Everly Cape Cod, who gives residents permission to have 2 dogs. I have a letter from my therapist why I had 2 dogs. This concerns my ESA, so I'm not going to talk about the other one. And I have no enemies. I know Donna is unhappy with me, but I continue to be cordial. There were others, but there were 3 major attacks by Picasso, her beautiful standard black poodle. Beautiful physically. The first incident, we were in the dog park, and there was a sign in the dog park that states no vicious dogs. The animals are not allowed in if there's any history or incidents. The sign states and is forbidden to bring those dogs into the dog park. I didn't know that. The first incident was when her black standard poodle, Picasso, the attack in Everly Dog Park, small little dog park with fence. And I feel because of what is posted, the rules, there was total disregard for what was posted as the rules for bringing your dog in. I was attacked by Gully. I was attacked. Gully is my dog, Gulliver. Gully and I were attacked. Picasso kept jumping up and biting me and biting my dog. I brought the dress that was, and I also have a scar on my leg, but I'm not gonna show that, it's too far up. This was the dress that was ripped. And he kept nipping and biting, and I had to turn around. I was so scared. I was frozen, and I asked Donna, he's biting us. Please get him. Please grab your dog. Please control your dog. Let me leave. And she finally did intervene. I had a minor bite on my leg and had to ask Donna to intervene, just sitting on the bench, continuing to watch me and my dog being bitten. I had to ask her to get my dog, stop the attack of me and my service and dog and training Gulliver. The second one, there's been multiple ones, but the second major attack was, I live on the 4th floor, Donna lives on the 1st floor. I was in the elevator, coming out of the elevator. I just look straight ahead. I don't always look to my right and left to see if there's going to be some problem, a dog attack or anything like that, because there's only 3 dogs. There were only 3 dogs. There's still 3 dogs. There are only 3 dogs that ever had a problem with my dog and attacked my dog. I was coming out of the elevator, and Donna and Picasso were pretty far away down the left-hand down on the left-hand side of the hallway, and Donna, I'm sure unintentionally let me just turn that. Donna, unintentionally, I'm sure, he pulled away from her and attacked Gully. And I said, please get him, please get him, please get him. And fortunately, I checked my dog, but it was an attack. I and my dog were not wounded that time. On Sunday the 19th, and that's what you just read, officer. On Sunday the 19th, I'm not going to read it again because you did read it. On Sunday the 19th, it was a game day, and football game day. We have a balcony and 2 sets of stairs, 2 flights coming down. I was halfway down the stairs with Gully. I couldn't see the people that were there. I didn't think to check. Of the 223 residents, I didn't think to check. I wonder if Donna and Picasso are down there. I wonder if I'm going to get attacked. I didn't see them. Halfway down the stairs, a group of ladies were gathered on the sofa and chairs. I was told, I don't know, because I didn't see her or Picasso. I was told Donna was sitting on the floor with Picasso. I was told she was sitting on this leash. Gully and I were halfway down the stairs when there was a surprise attack by Picasso once again, who ran up the stairs. I was halfway down, who ran up the stairs to attack. I got thrown against the wall, and resident Michelle was injured trying to come to our aid and to try to help us ward off the attack, grabbing Picasso's leash. I had, like I said, 2 dogs. I have a new 3-month-old ESA Sheepadoodle. And I am so afraid for his life. I never know when. It just seems like when I see Donna or I see her dog walker, Jane, I don't know what Jane's last name. It seems like every time I come out, I have to wait. I see them somewhere. And I'm afraid of Gulliver's. I'm afraid of my health and safety. I'm afraid of Gulliver's health and safety and life. I don't have dog insurance because I can't afford it. Because I was taking care of my parents with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, so I wasn't working. I was working at Riverview School as a teacher and as a resident, but I couldn't while my parents were alive and needed so much help. And Picasso has been reported by multiple people. I don't have access to the file. Our brand new, we've gone through almost every year a new manager, there's been no consistency. Every report that has been filed, and the first time I didn't because I didn't want to make enemies, I was new. I didn't report Donna, somebody else did, but I did not. Everly has done nothing to protect residents. And I wanted to refer to the lease. And I'm almost there. Page 3 of 7, prohibited conduct. You, your occupants or guests, or the guests of any occupants may not engage in the following activities: behaving in a loud or obnoxious manner, okay. Disturbing or threatening the rights, comfort, health, safety, or convenience of others, including our agents and employees in or near the apartment community. A part that doesn't matter. As a result of said conduct, disrupting, I'm trying to skip the parts that don't matter. Engaging in or threatening violence. Number 21. Injuring 21, resident safety and property loss. You and all occupants and guests must exercise due care for your own and others' safety and security. We are not liable to any resident, guest, or occupant for damage or loss. Animal rules. This is number 9, animal rules. You are responsible for the animal's actions at all times. You agree to abide by these rules. The animal must not disturb the neighbors or other residents, regardless of whether the animal is inside or outside the dwelling. And I've been attacked, Gully has been attacked. We have been attacked inside and outside of the dwelling, of the apartment building with 223 units and many, many dogs. And again, only 3 that are vicious. Additional rules, number 10. We have the right to make reasonable changes to the animal rules from time to time if we distribute a written copy of any changes to every resident who is allowed to have animals. These rules can be in the form of separate animal rules or included in our community policies. I have no access to the manager, our new manager, and maybe about our 10th manager. Heather here was an activities director, and I know why she's here. Because we were attacked by her dog also and bitten. Number 12, complaints about animal. You must immediately and permanently remove the animal from the premises if we receive a reasonable complaint from a neighbor or other resident, or if we, in our sole discretion, determine that the animal has disturbed neighbors or other residents. And I'm not the only resident. I didn't bring anybody. Michelle came of her own accord. I did not bring anybody else. I don't gossip. I don't know how many animals are affected, but I know mine is. Liability for damages and injuries. As owner of the animal, you're strictly liable for the entire amount or any injury that the animal causes to a person or anyone's property. You'll indemnify us for all costs of litigation and attorney's fees resulting from such damage. I have nothing against Donna. I have nothing against her dog, but I'm afraid of her dog. I paid $3,500 for my dog, and that's not what matters. I had a $500 discount because I'm a veteran. I was in Air Force intelligence. I joined Lions Club, Paws of Comfort, to take my dog to hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living, and he is a very good dog. An ESA, a service dog in training. I say, because people say to me, he's our favorite dog. I have nothing against Donna or dog, but I'm afraid, and I don't want it to be a fact anymore.
Okay.
Thank you.
Heather, I'm assuming you're here on behalf of Everly?
No, I'm no longer employed. They
No.
sold the building. I'm here as a witness to the complaint that was brought. I was there.
I'm just trying to stay consistent.
Oh, yeah.
Who is here on behalf of the complainant? Because it would be your turn to speak next.
Wait, complainant is her.
No?
No, you're with us.
Okay, all right. So then, the next person that I would like to hear from is Donna, because Donna is the defendant, and if Donna is being represented by Mr. Connors and does not plan on speaking, then that is how we will let that roll.
Do you want to speak? She wishes not to speak.
Okay, that's fine.
I would ask that Heather Anderson provide a narrative of what she's observed, both as an individual and an employee, former employee of the facility.
All right, so I'm just gonna back it up. So I'm not here as a representative of Everly Cape Cod, just to be clear.
Okay.
Okay, I will agree with Ann that they are, it's 225 apartments and there's a lot of dogs, and I feel, the facility itself should have better rules in place and consequences, we'll say, because it's a recipe for disaster there, and there are several dogs that have had issues, while I was there and since I've been gone. So I do say that the management or company rules, however you might say it, and this is just my opinion, as I was a resident as well during my employment, so I lived there all the time. So I was a resident but employee. So as an employee, I took complaints. I did have interaction with Dawn, with Ann's animal. Unfortunately, shortly after I moved in and started my position there, which was probably September of 2023, my dog is a 25-pound Tibetan Spaniel. Okay, they generally, I had him prior to moving there for approximately 4 years. We adopted him at 5. He's 12 now. Never did I have any incident. Their breed is bred to be companions to the monks. They are very, I'll call them Zen, but they don't bark. They're more like a cat. They're very social, whatnot. Dog, I never had a concern or a problem. Elevator and apartment living was new, so the rules of the building are all dogs must be on leads, restrained, whatever, especially if you're entering an elevator or anything. Dogs are not supposed to be in the activity areas, event areas, the movie room, any of those things. I had the first interaction with Ann and her dog was I was on the elevator. She entered with my dog.
I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Okay.
This dangerous dog hearing
Yeah.
is pertaining to Picasso
I understand
solely. So any information regarding like other interactions with other residents' dogs doesn't pertain to what this
Okay.
hearing is about.
that. Okay.
You're more than welcome to continue speaking,
Yeah,
but I
hear
won't
what-
necessarily be able to use
Right.
your testimony to determine whether or not a town manager order is placed on Picasso.
Right. Well, I can tell you Picasso was never a problem.
Okay.
He was always restrained. Donna, managed him properly. In my opinion, most dogs, the problems with dogs are the management of the owners. And Picasso is, she is very cautious. He's my interactions, he's wonderful, fine dog, but that doesn't mean he is to everyone.
Sure.
But a lot of the things that Ann is stating and relying on, her dog is far more, her dog is aggressive in my eyes
Okay.
on several incidents. So I have I have several incidents involving my dog and my attempt to the dog owner to speak logically for her to manage her animals. So
Okay,
that's-
I understand now.
right, so
Yeah,
that's where I'm going.
I get it.
Is that, I'm acknowledging that Everly has poor management of the animals there. And it could be better. Unfortunately, it's not. So, moving in, you think, ooh, dog friendly. Not so much. So, if I didn't work there, I would have moved out because Anne's saying she's afraid of, she's fearful, she's this, she's that. Well, I have to say that the first interaction when her dog lunged at myself and my dog Brew, who's 25 pounds, in a small elevator with two elderly couples pinned against the wall, and I bent down, just hit the next floor and got the heck off the elevator, whipped out because I was knelt down and protecting my dog. Shortly after that incident, my dog was extremely fearful of Gully, so a new behavior that I had to manage was he would bark crazy, like in his little 25-pound brain, he was going to get him back. So I always had him on a harness, whatnot. Went to Dawn's apartment. I said, Anne's apartment, and tried to reason with her, saying, listen, they're not going to be friends. He's traumatized. You need to be aware. I live on the east side of the building. You live on the west. Let's be conscious and cautious animal owners and try to stay away from me. Let's give them some time at least, whatever. She refused to do that, and in no exaggeration, my walks with my dog, which I worked there, so that was my time to, recoup my brain. I had to about face because her dog was either, I encountered her with the dog off lead several times, running down the stairs to the great room where she knows what I'm talking about, down to ground level where you get outside. Unaware of her, she refused to make herself unaware of surroundings, when knowing that now Gully and Brew are not friends. Gully was even, she brought Gully down to events that dogs were not allowed to. I had to ask her to remove him because Gully would bark at me, an extension of, and act like he didn't like me much. I was about facing and rerouting my walk daily. She would take the dog and stand under my apartment with the dog while my dog would come out to the porch, smell him, and start freaking out. My dog was as a 25-pound dog, it became, for me, a real problem because he was so out of sorts whenever he smelled Gully that I didn't even walk my dog through the building on the 4th floor because Gully lives there. It was just, I know enough to know that they don't like each other. This is now a problem. Anne refused to acknowledge or respect or even try to not have them around each other. The second infraction that happened, I was in the pool on a Sunday morning, the pool area was closed, doing chemicals with the dog. My dog was on his lead, but I'm bent over testing pool chemicals. Maintenance is supposed to lock the pool at night. There's 2 separate doors. The one I came in, I shut and locked. So I'm in a locked, not open area, and it's fully gated. And she walks out of the building and sees this. So my dog runs over to the other door, which never got locked the night before it pushed open, and my dog went running out of Gully. Well, she has Gully on a lead right here. I jumped the fence, dove to my dog, had him, and at least 10 times from the ground and saying, just go, as her dog's trampling in a thorny dahlia bush or plant, whatever, in a planter. I'm begging her to go. But she stands there with the dog on the lead, still in range of fighting, versus just pulling away, moving away, leaving, whatever being a responsible dog owner. That's my biggest complaint, is I could not, no matter what angle I took. So after that infraction, I went to Anne's door. I said, can you not see this is a problem? She said, oh, Gully's paws are bleeding, and I said, well, he stepped all over the thorn thing. But I went out to PetSmart, bought her some salve, tried to help her with it. She said she still wanted the vet to look at him. I said, fine, you know what, I will, because he pushed out of the door, I will pay for that. I tried everything in my power, logic, reporting the incidents, making lease infractions, everything, and it just continued to get worse. She probably before that dog, we'll call it the fight outside the pool gate, after the elevator scenario. It had to be 2 weeks later. I'm after hours, 7 p.m. walking my dog, and I came into the ground level. My dog is on a lead. I got my coat, my earbuds, and she comes out of the movie room, knowing that our dogs don't like each other. Movie room is completely enclosed, no windows. She comes out, oh, I can't get the videos going. I can't, I'm not, what are the, and there's a rule, no animals in these rooms. So I roll my eyes, fine, I'm gonna go in and fix the video. So I bring my dog into this enclosed area. As we walk through the door with my dog that she knows her dog doesn't like, her dog's off lead comes bounding at us. And I was backing up, tripped, got my dog, barely shut the door before he was on us. I was irate. I probably screamed some not nice things from outside the door. Left, but reported it. She was called by the manager on property, my supervisor, and given an infraction on the lease and told you're not supposed to have him there. Again, anytime these rules that she's picking out of the lease, she doesn't follow any of them. So she puts the residents and the other dogs in danger because her dog is an unneutered 2 or 3 year old male that seems to get more and more unsteady or unstable towards other animals. I am one of, I'm not going to give a number to it, but there are several or many that will not get on the elevator with her. That he's a sweet looking and probably a sweet overall, but the poor management, he drags her around that building, but I don't want to say oblivious, but she refuses to be conscious about the dogs. I mean, the dog would be barking and jumping if he's in the dog park, freaking out. So all of the things she's pointing out about rules and other dogs, she knows that she doesn't follow any of it. And literally, I went to her apartment probably 2 separate times. I finally got to the point where I just had to pretend she didn't exist, change my life. My walks, we tried to go off property. I would have moved out if it hadn't been that I worked there. And I did move out after I stopped working there. But no, like I said, having my dog for that amount of time, never having an infraction, always walking him in public, and this event in the elevator was traumatizing. So it was super frustrating to me because I've had shepherds my whole life and well trained. He's a small dog, stubborn, but now he's adopted this new. He's afraid of. He was afraid and reactive to Scully's even scent. So it was a huge disruption that I was trying. I felt like my dog was being ruined, So it was difficult because I'm reprimanding my dog, pulling him off the porch because he's barking at her, hanging out under my apartment. So it's there's a problem, but you're causing continual conflict. You're refusing to reroute. It was always me turning around, going around the building. I've seen her pushing the dog on they're essentially luggage carts. Not on a lead through the building, it's irresponsible dog management. And this dog, there was, after I think I was still living there, a female dog went into heat, and her dog was going crazy. And again, I think that Everly should have rules. I don't believe unneutered dogs should be on the prop. You know what I mean? There should be better rules and better management of the whole property, but the dog issues are becoming really, I'm sure he knows, he's been called there for other animals. There's really a rising, it's not a dog, pet friendly, is it? You know what I mean? You move in with your animal and you're expecting, oh, it's great, we have a walking path, but you're encountering irresponsibly managed, there are some dogs there that just incessantly bark at every dog, and that's annoying, but, they're not aggressive, they're just crazy. But my biggest frustration is that she's the parent, we'll say, of the animal. And just like our children, if your animal has a shortcoming or a hot spot, you're going to try to mitigate that. And every attempt I made, whether it be, like I said, through the employment channels, or just as another resident coming to her saying, listen, you have to accept they're not going to be friends. We need to manage this. No. And she, in my opinion, it seemed antagonizing or ignorant. And it continued, and I was there 2.5 years. It was really a stressor. I mean, a huge stressor. My husband wouldn't even walk the dog on the property because where I worked there, I think I was irate, but I had to be pleasantly irate. And so I would say to my husband, go walk through Cape Cod Healthcare over there and this and that, because he witnessed much of it, and it was just so avoidable if you managed your animal properly and actually followed the leasing, protocol. And I'm sorry, but my experience with Anne was just absolute. What she would say to me, well, I'm in shock. You have to be able to, if you're going to live here, you need to manage that dog. But there was one night I'm standing by the outside. There's a glass wall on the base door that she would often come out from, right? And I'm speaking to someone with my back to that. And thankfully, I didn't have my dog with me that night. But the person I'm speaking to starts going, and I turn and there's Gully by himself jumping, and I look and he sees me and he's barking at the glass, barking. I was speaking to Jerry Mooney, so maybe you remember this. And it was probably 3 minutes later that Anne finally appeared. So dog not on lead, lunging at the glass doors, okay, because he sees me, and she comes along without the dog on the lead, a good 3 minutes later. So I did not have an interaction with her because my dog wasn't there. But all I could do is say to the other person, thank God I didn't have Brew. That's my dog. But that was the stuff. So I couldn't, I consciously didn't bring him, if I went to speak to someone, he wanted to come with me, I didn't bring, it was a prison in the sense that I knew I was dealing with irrational or, just non-coherent management of a problem. When I would have to walk across the 4th floor just myself, and I wore work keys that made a noise, and he quickly recognized, so he would bark and freak out. Like, I would be 5 apartments away and he would start being at his door barking and freaking out at me. I didn't have my dog. I started responding in the hallway, knock it off, Gully, every time I walked by. That didn't do anything. But she's not man. I mean, it's my understanding she went to her neighbors while that dog was in heat, and her dog was being really unmanageable, and her dog had scratched up and bruised the heck out of her legs. So she, and sorry to say this, but she can't manage the dog, or isn't trying. One or the other. She's either not capable to manage him, but he's not trained. He's not manageable. He drags her across the property. So, I don't know if he's had any training or whether, it seems like he's he's a pretty dog, good natured, has the, possibility of being rehabbed, but there's no effort of management, control, acknowledgement, anything. So, I was making notes as she was speaking because it was like, she admits she's oblivious to her surroundings. She's saying, I've come and I'm not noticing, whatever. Well, I'm sorry, my dog isn't vicious, and I had to be super vigilant to watch my surroundings because I knew at any corner I could encounter Gully dragging her into an encounter. So I had to be super vigilant, which was not relaxing on walks. And she's refusing to, but pointing out that, she's oblivious to her surroundings, and, she's saying the owner should have had control of their animal. All the same complaints that I went to her with at every angle I could until I just stopped speaking to her because I knew I was wasting I just couldn't understand why somebody owning a dog, knowing it was a problem, wouldn't, take steps to rectify it, either get some training or, be super vigilant in controlling him. Let's see, lack of care, that's from Everly. She's got several infractions in the system. I don't know how you get them. I don't know if Everly would give you that information, but she's had complaints from several different people regarding the animal and its management. That's, in the Everly or Gray Star. I guess it would have to be subpoenaed or something, but there are more than enough infractions in there to prove anything I've said. And they're not just from me. Again, I was an employee, so I did everything I could to try to rectify the problem, but nothing was heard. The management office had called her. I was there several times when he discussed that she can't be bringing him to the, that's an infraction to have him even in the movie theater room, let alone off the lead. And to call me in there, I felt like I walked into Afghanistan because all of a sudden, it's not a big room, but I got a 100-pound dog bounding at us, backed up, spilled my tea all over the place, but I got him out of there, heart rate racing. So all these things she's complaining about, I lived with for 2 years and tried everything to resolve, so I don't see how she, I did not witness the encounter with Picasso, but I've certainly interacted with Picasso and never had a problem. And when Donna manages the dog, she's a smart owner in the sense of, there's a large difference in the way Donna manages her animal to the way Anne manages her animal. So I believe, is there anything I missed? I feel I've kind of covered, we didn't, our, if you want to call it relationship, didn't end well. Like I said, I just segregated myself and accepted that I had to live with the chaos and did my best to, just be on guard at all times. And I gotta say, I left in September and it's a breath of fresh air. I can breathe when I take my dog out. And it's only gonna get worse there. And there are other dogs on the property now, I believe, I know of one. It's a matter of time when something's gonna end really, really badly there. And, I hope it's not her dog, but given the way she manages it, it likely will be in an interaction with another dog. And I don't know the answer or the solution to that, but I can tell you that Phoenix is not the problem. Picasso is not the problem. Gully is not manageable in the given state of his existence there, I guess, and it continues. So, I think we didn't wind up here because I continued to try to come to her, say to her, like, you've got to, try to give her tools even. But she just, I don't know, wasn't interested, didn't want to, whatever it was. But she just, I felt she was antagonizing, I would ask her, and she knew how upsetting it was to my animal, but yet that's a large building and a large property. There was just no need to continue the stressful encounters, but she wouldn't make any accommodations. So that to me is not responsible, and it was just like I was looking at it as at any given moment there's going to be another problem, and that's the stance I took as a responsible dog owner.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So you indicated that you had observed Picasso and has there been any time that you had a direct physical interaction with Picasso, like petting the dog?
Yeah. I've been to their apartment. I've seen them in the coffee room or around the coffee room.
Did the dog ever appear aggressive towards you?
Nope.
To anybody else that you may have been with?
No, I've seen him with his previous dog walker outside, after walks, and we stop and chat. The dog's always on, a lead, restrained, but never, I always call it a she because she's a poodle, but he's a he. He would sit and just, interact. It was, I never saw him be aggressive. I guess there are something, but I did not witness that, and Picasso was a more than reasonable dog. He wasn't a dog I was concerned about being around, even when I had my dog.
And is Picasso neutered?
I believe so.
Okay. And I believe you mentioned something about rules and regulations that it really is having a dog spay or neutered a requirement.
I don't believe it's in the lease. I'm saying as a dog owner and my adult life, I feel it certainly should. There shouldn't, with that many dogs and a lot of seniors that don't have, we'll say mobility, or, they're taking their dog out with a walker, I feel like an unneutered or unspayed is a bad idea.
So in your opinion as an employee, you believe that there should be amendments to the facility to prevent these kind of encounters?
Absolutely. I feel that Gray Star, and hopefully this won't go to the papers, but I believe they're ignorant owners in the sense that this is, marketing it as a dog-friendly property, and they don't have any caps on, how many dogs, live there or whatever. And she's saying she just got another puppy. That to me, that's news to me, and that's disturbing. But
And if I may, have you received any complaints during your employee regarding the poodle Picasso?
no, I did not have any complaints about Picasso come into me.
There was no tenant or resident there that expressed concern regarding Picasso being a dangerous dog?
No, and she follows the rules. You know what I'm saying? There's, one thing, if you're not in compliance, we'll say, and your dog's off the lead all the time, there's going to be a problem. And she's a responsible dog owner, and the dog seems to me to be a very, a trained. It's certainly got manners.
And regarding the rules, you have familiarity with them.
Yeah.
Is there a certain number of complaints that a tenant can lodge before you would bring it before the town?
Well, I've never seen them bring anything in front of the town. That's their MO is, it's a big company. They pretty much hire management, keep you for a year or two, and then toss you to the wolves.
Right.
So,
but in your tenure.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rule is supposed to be 3 lease infractions, and your lease can be terminated.
And during that time that you were there, and Miss Phoenix was there with her dog Picasso, did she have any dog violations that you're aware of? Okay, so she wasn't ever subjected to a lease termination?
Nope.
Okay. And so your observations include that this Tremer had willfully violated the rules and regulations, including the movie area, the pool area, and
The dog being on a leash. Her dog has run out of her apartment, which she has several seniors living near her, knocked over one of them, who's an older man with Parkinson's. Those type of things were happening. There had been a couple people that had been either, almost knocked over or knocked over.
And in your tenure as a manager there, how many complaints are you aware of receipt regarding gully?
I know that the neighbor, the elderly man with Parkinson's, made a complaint about him always bounding out of the apartment full speed, not on a lead. I had to put my interactions with him, circumstances, so I had at least 2 written infractions in the system that while I was there regarding, and I put them in as incident reports, and they get added to, they decide if it's a lease violation. Again, being an employee, I had to make sure I descriptively described everything, and I did, so they're in the system.
Okay, and you say there's several other dogs that live in that facility?
Mm-hmm.
And have you observed or witnessed or heard Gully going after those dogs?
Gully going after those, I know he's had, for me to remember which dogs, but
Just a number.
yeah, he's had issues with other people, and I can't give you the name, right now, but I know that there have been other people with animals that have made complaints about the
And
management.
is one of those people Donna Phoenix?
Complaints about Donna Phoenix?
No.
Did she make a
About Gully making aggressive acts towards Donna Phoenix's dog, Picasso.
I don't know if they interacted very much. I don't think,
During your tenure, you don't want to guess.
Yeah, no, during my tenure,
Okay.
I don't believe there was, any fights or any, I would have known if there was a dog fight.
Okay. You don't have anything else to shed, do you?
I don't think so. If they have any questions for me, I know I kind of spoke all over the place, but, you know, it was about a 2.5 year time span that I experienced the consistent mismanagement.
Okay.
And that's the only reason I'm here, you know, and again, I left the property because it wasn't going to be resolved.
Understood. James or Donna, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we move on to Michelle?
Nothing more for questioning of Heather, no.
Okay.
So we move on to Michelle for Heather.
Can I speak just for, I just want to clarify one
Absolutely.
thing.
Yeah.
The first time we encountered Gully, I was new, I had just moved in. And I was walking by the dog park and actually Ann said, come in. And I said, no, he doesn't play well with other dogs. And she said, oh, he'll be fine, come on in. And so I anticipated that there might be a problem. However, she was playing with the dogs and had a red thing, I don't know if it was a ball or what it is. And she was standing there holding it up in the air.
Mhm.
And when my dog would, of course, he jumped up to get it. That's what
Right.
dogs do.
Right.
But apparently the other two dogs don't jump up. And I don't know if she throws it or what she does. But the fact that I just wanted to say, throw the ball. And that would have ended it. But nope. Anyway, I just wanted to clarify that wasn't, I was coaxed into coming in. I don't generally use that, and it's disgusting anyway. That's it. I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
it wasn't an unprovoked. I'm gonna shut up.
Okay.
All right. Michelle?
Big mouth is here. My name is Michelle Jones and I live at Everly. I've been there for a year now, December. So I know everybody at this table. I get along with everybody there. I have a Yorkie, 2 pound, 3 pound. My dog is Service with all its paperwork at Everly and filed along with the ADA laws so that they understand, but they don't understand. Because anybody that says we have a service dog or an emotional support dog, you're welcome in. But that isn't how it works. You gotta get your doctor's note, you have to have the vet note, you have to DOT if you're gonna fly. Anyway, so there's a lot of that going on, but I was there that day for the game. I happen to have pictures of exactly what the area looked like, where the overhang is. I'm not here to make any enemies with Ann or anybody either, but I have to say what I saw, because I was sitting on the couch that looks straight up at the walkway that goes through, and I saw Ann coming, and I can't lie, I saw Ann look down like this, and then she proceeded to come down, which is the halfway mark at this staircase here. So she started way up here, and then she ended up on the halfway, she came down. Now Donna was sitting on the floor on one of the couch, near the couches with Picasso had the leash around his nose, which he always has. And she was fixing a piece of jewelry, so she had her leash under her leg all the way of Picasso. And he was laying there with us. He had been there it was halftime. So Ann starts to come down the stairs, and all of a sudden, holy hell breaks loose. And Picasso, because they don't like each other, so he's coming down and he's going up. I stupidly react because I've never seen a dog fight, and I run up the stairs. And I'm in the middle of it with Ann. Ann gets thrown against the wall. I'm trying to grab Picasso's leash to break it up so they don't have a fight. And me and Picasso go down 6 flights of stairs. And I got a rug burn, and my whole rights, I have a bad back that I spoke with my doctor with my medication, and it's not working, and I think it's been a 5-year back issue. It's scar tissue, and I think that, I'm not suing anybody here. I don't want to get into that. I'm happy where I live. But I know people are afraid of Picasso, of your dog. I've gone in the elevator with your dog, and I have no issues. I have a 2 pound Yorkie, but I don't let my dog near any dog. because one bite and she's gone. So I always hold her up, and so I've never had an issue with any dog there. But I just have seen him come down the hallway and everybody, any dog that's out just goes hysterically barking and crazy, and it's just a disaster. And again, I blame owners, but I blame Miss Everly. Everly does not, we have I don't know if I can speak out of this, but because I see from my window, we have a man there that has a dog that has bitten people and dogs, and he's still there.
Yep.
And he also has a record, and I don't feel safe.
We've had
Yeah, I don't feel safe. We
a
find the
number of
muzzles. I
dog
watched him the other day again.
To Everly at
Yeah.
this point, so.
I watched him come out the door the other day again, and he had no thing on, no muzzle. The muzzles are always in the woods.
Mhm.
But so for me, and I'm only 65, but I'm still also starting to feel older, and I'm not stable as I used to be. There's a lot of older people there, which it's really a nursing home. It shouldn't be. A lot of people don't like dogs. The other thing I find is people your leash should be about 4 inches until you get your dog outside. Not the size of this table when you're walking through Everly. And that's not just her. There's a lot of people that do it. So that's my thing. I mean, I went tumbling down. One of the girls was sitting there, and I think they were in shock of everything that happened so fast. And the guys were down the other end and came up and got me, and I've got a picture of my knee, and I'm still not feeling right, but I'll get there.
May I inquire? You indicated fear of Picasso. Did you mean to say Gully?
I say golly, yeah.
Okay.
I go to her house all the time.
And when you're in the house, are you alone with the dog ever?
I have been, yes.
Okay, and have you ever expressed any fear or had to fight because of Picasso?
He comes up to me and hugs me and kisses me, and he's a poodle.
Okay. And the day that you fell down the steps, you indicated there was other people in the room. And did any of those people demonstrate any or express any fear of Picasso?
Everybody sat in their seat. No one person got up to help me except for the men down the.
Did anybody express any fear of Picasso the poodle?
At that time, yes, they all said.
Of Picasso the poodle?
Her dog.
Gully.
Gully, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
She's
But-
making a mess of your transcript.
Right.
But not Picasso. Okay. All right. Nothing further. I would like, if I can, as my part as attorney, to submit for the record a copy of the doctor's note regarding Picasso as an emotional support dog. That this one is verified as a dog that is Miss Phoenix's emotional support dog,
Okay.
recognized by a medical doctor.
You want me to read this into the record?
I'm happy to just submit it as evidence unless you want to read it into the record.
I mean, it's, to whom it may concern, I'm a licensed doctor who has evaluated the emotional profile of Donna Phoenix and has determined that Donna qualifies to have an emotional support animal for Donna's psychological disability recognized by the DSM-V. Donna's disability substantially limits at least one major life activity. It's my professional opinion the presence of an emotional support animal is necessary to help treat and alleviate Donna's disorder. I recommended Donna Phoenix keep their poodle, dog named Picasso, that weighs 50 pounds, to serve as Donna's emotional support animal as the primary treatment to address Donna's disability. Please allow Donna Phoenix to be accompanied by Donna's emotional support animal in the cabin of the aircraft in accordance with the Air Carrier Access Act. This ESC approval is valid until the end of 2024.
And if I may ask, Ms. Phoenix, you heard that letter being read into the record, is that correct?
That's correct.
And is your doctor, Dr. Alyssa Agburia?
Say that again.
Is this the letter that you
Yes.
received? And that's
Yes.
Dr. Agburia? Okay.
I don't pronounce names well.
Okay, and this is the letter that I had submitted into evidence on your behalf, and you've been duly prescribed by a medical doctor as Picasso being a emotional support dog.
Correct.
Okay, because you suffer a disability.
I do.
Okay. I have nothing further.
You'll have a chance to speak after I listen to animal control.
Okay, I'll start by stating that I did serve this hearing notice in hand. The original hearing was scheduled for the 14th and it was canceled. So I reserved or served a second notice. At which time on returning the notice to the manager's office, I was provided a copy of the complaint. Prior to that, I have not been made aware of, I'm not certain if anyone else in our office may have been notified of any of these complaints. I did a database search of the logs and I found nothing. There was some phone conversations, but nothing directly stating that there was an issue that had occurred. So with that, I would just point out that I have been called to this facility more than a few times now concerning many of the dogs there. I was in communication with the activities director that's present there, or at least was a month ago. And
Next week, she won't.
we discussed some of the issues and I pointed out some of the concerns that I had. And I made it very clear at that time that animal control in the town does not have jurisdiction within the hallways or on the property to enforce any of the house rules. What I can enforce is a dog license, a rabies vaccination, that type of situation, which is controlled by state and town law. And also, of course, if there was any type of a bite that was reported, we would have issued quarantines accordingly. Since that encounter with the individual over there, though the discussion, I was then advised that the management team was not going to have me come in and speak to them directly. They were going to do something internally and then reach out. To date, I have not received any correspondence since that time. So these complaints are, pretty much all new. This is the first time I'm hearing most of this. As some reports here that, the other dogs in the facility, yes, I've been involved in many of them. So that's all I have.
Okay.
And may I inquire?
We're back at Ann now.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
directly to Charlie?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Lewis, Officer Lewis, you served the notice in hand to Miss Phoenix,
Correct.
and did you knock on her door and come to the door?
With some difficulty, yes, we finally were able to get to the door.
Okay.
Yes.
And did you have any interactions with the dog named Picasso?
Yes.
And was Picasso aggressive towards you?
No.
And how long was that interaction?
Approximately 15 minutes, 16 minutes.
And at no point did he try to jump on you, bite you, bark at you, menace you, intimidate you?
No, there was one point where he, started to come out and was corrected by a hand signal. And the dog never left the Miss Phoenix's side.
All under her control,
Yes.
nothing further.
And you had something to add?
Yes, I didn't write reports. Everything I said was under oath is true. I'm not a litigious person. And I invited her in. She was new because I had never had a problem with Gully up until that point. Because like I said, there are 3 attacks to Gully. First was Picasso, and that's been multiple times, 3 major. With Brew, and I didn't stand under her window, I took a walk around the sidewalk. You have to walk past her apartment because I always tried to look, but I didn't see. And then this bulldog that is there. I have since heard there's another vicious dog. My dog has never attacked any other dog. Brew attacked him, so of course he's afraid of Brew. Picasso attacked him multiple times, so of course he's afraid of him. The bulldog attacked, but I've only seen him once. The owner lost control of him, but I got away fast enough. The muzzle flew off. That's the only 3 dogs I know. And I can I send this? This is my ESA letter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have it only printed. May I read it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Gully is an ESA and a service dog in training through Lions Club Paws of Comfort. But he is an ESA, and he has been since I brought him home. To the 2 dogs that I brought home at 2 months old, I think they were 15 months old, were registered as service dogs and ESAs the whole time at Everly. To whom it may concern, Annie Tremer is a client of Northeast Health Services, LLC, Cape Behavioral Health since March 11th, 2021. Ms. Tremer has been under my care since 10/12/22 in treatment for emotional and mental health disabilities. These disabilities make most everyday tasks difficult without the assistance of a service animal. Due to her emotional and mental disabilities, Ms. Tremer has certain limitations relating to coping with stress and anxiety. In order to alleviate these difficulties and to enhance her ability to function effectively, I have prescribed Ms. Tremer to obtain an emotional support animal / psychiatric service animal, ESA, PSA. The presence of this animal, such as a dog, is necessary for Ms. Tremer's cognitive, neuropsychological, and social emotional functioning as part of her ongoing treatment for multiple neuropsychological deficits and impairments indicative of DSM-5 diagnosis of including, but not limited to, generalized anxiety disorder, major depressive disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, PTSD complex, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. As Ms. Tremer is a patient who suffers from multiple overlapping neuropsychological and social emotional conditions, I have recommended she utilize 2 psychiatric service animals trained to recognize symptoms of ongoing anxiety panic attacks resulting from her conditions. Ms. Tremer has been authorized to utilize 2 psychiatric service dogs, Gulliver, she was a date of birth 06/04/2022, to perform separate yet complementary tasks to assist Ms. Tremer in not only mitigating symptoms of her conditions and also to be able to function day-to-day tasks effectively. These psychiatric service animals are trained to perform the following tasks, including but not limited to recognizing onset of symptoms of stress and anxiety resulting from above diagnoses, distracting handler towards de-escalation of symptoms, applying body pressure, looking to provide affection and emotional support, and retrieving medication and other objects. Please be advised that my client, Ms. Tremer, is a qualified individual with a disability protected by the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, of 1990, providing civil rights protections to individuals with disabilities in areas of employment, state and local government services, public accommodations, transportation, and telecommunications. Furthermore, Ms. Tremer also meets the requirements with respect to her disability under the Reasonable Accommodation under the Fair Housing Amendments Act, FHA, of 1988. Massachusetts landlords and realtors are prohibited from discriminating based on race, color, religious creed, national origin, and ancestry, sex, age, handicap, disability, sexual harassment, sexual orientation, marital status, children, retaliation, veteran status, or public assistance. The laws on discrimination and housing also apply to housing advertising, public housing, private realtors, and landlords. The Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing and related transactions on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, familial status, handicap, and national origin. The American Disabilities Act is integrated into Massachusetts law. It is illegal to refuse to rent, sell, or deal with a person or otherwise deny a unit or making it available due to a disability. This includes discriminating in terms, conditions, or privileges of a sale, rental, occupancy, or services, falsely representing that a unit is not available, limiting access to brokerage services, or selectively enforcing land use, zoning, and other ordinances due to a disability. A landlord may not ask an applicant whether the applicant's family, or any friend or associate has a disability. A landlord may not inquire about the nature or severity of the disability and cannot require the production of medical records. A landlord should additionally not attempt to assess whether an applicant is capable of living independently, only whether the applicant meets essential eligibility requirements as per the terms of tenancy.
Ms. Tremer.
Yeah.
At this point, this is no longer pertaining to the
Okay.
emotional support status of your dog. This is just getting into the American Disabilities Act and what you can and can't do in regards to it, which really doesn't have anything to do with this hearing.
Okay.
So unless you have something else to add regarding the incident that happened with Picasso back in October to which this complaint was filed, we'll move on.
That's fine. I hear untruths, but I can't prove it. I know we are under oath. What I've said is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Okay.
So help me God.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Just a brief summation, if I could.
Sure.
Apparently a facility that has rules and regulations, sometimes they're adhered to apparently, sometimes they're not. Ultimately, control of a person's dog, whether it's emotional support or not, is incumbent upon the individual owner to manage and control their dog. Dogs often naturally do not like each other. It's the owner's responsibility to keep them apart, not to taunt other owners with the dog that's not liked or mutually disliked. I would suggest that it's inappropriate to have two male dogs, one intact, one not intact, have close encounters unless they live together. Even dogs that live together that are males can sometimes end up fighting. And I would suggest that Ms. Phoenix has had no complaints other than the one before you today. According to Ms. Anderson, there have been numerous concerns raised about Ms. Tremer's dog, and I would suggest to you that in your determination that you determine that Ms. Phoenix's dog is not a danger to the community, not a danger to anybody other than perhaps another male dog that doesn't like her, and she's under an obligation to keep her dog away from other dogs, keep it properly leashed as well. Ms. Tremer, with an intact male, has an obligation to manage her dog at all times on a leash. And I would suggest to you that this incident, even though it seems to be growing a little bit, needs to be addressed proactively amongst themselves, amongst the facility. And I would ask that the town manager not consider Picasso as a danger to the community, subject to destruction. And we're not asking that Ms. Tremer's dog be subject to that either. And that's what I would like to suggest to you.
Thank you. Anything else?
No.
All right. Well, having heard everything pertaining to this matter, it is now 10:42. Hearing is closed. The town manager makes a determination. That determination is typically done within 10 business days, and that determination would be hand-delivered to you Ms. Phoenix, and would be mailed to you, Ms. Tremer. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.